warrior, I decided just to jump on live. No putting out sound the alarm, no anything, just coming to you live because so much is happening. We're involved at the Warriors with so many different things today. I wanted to talk about Dirty Diddy. I have to talk about Dirty Diddy. I mean, he is demanding the nerve of this guy, the nerve of his lawyers. Now, hear me out about all. He is demanding, he is claiming he's just a voyeur. He's not any kind of pimp. Let's review. Let's go back. Of course, he was convicted on the lesser charges, the Mann Act, engaging in transportation to engage in prostitution, not the sex trafficking charges, which I'm going to maintain. I really thought that the judge, the jury, well, I should say the jury, would find him guilty. Because in my mind, I also kept thinking about that Cassie video. Now, before I get going on this, because I may never stop, I need to say, can everybody hear me? Do we have a 5x5?
Yep.
Uh, well, we have a verbal one from the other room, everybody. Okay, I see Lionel Nation. I see Fred is here. New subscriber here. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Durjati Al from Nancy Grace. Well, I'm on Nancy Grace. And actually, I was on yesterday. Well, I'll be back on the beginning of next week, I guess Monday, because we have a lot of this Diddy. I'm a Diddy expert, everybody, a dirty Diddy expert, because our focus at the Warriors is, oh, Fred, I can't keep up with you. Wait a minute. Fred, thank you so much. 10 Lynn's Warriors gift memberships. Exactly what we need. What do I always say here? We need to spread the information. We need to talk about things that nobody else or few are talking about. And then I need you to be a warrior and share the information on your platforms, or at least listen and talk to people about all of this. Look at this. Fred, thank you so much. It's really about building, our hashtag is community creates change. And this is indeed the way to do it. So this means more. You're donating, you're doing the memberships than anything in the world. But let me get back to this Diddy, Dirty Diddy, which is what I named him. And back to Nancy Grace. I love Nancy Grace because she's always focusing on victims, survivors. She gives the warriors a voice quite frequently. And that is gold star plus 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 in our book. And also she focuses all the time on missing people, especially, we talk about missing kids at the Warriors all the time. 2,300 American children go missing every day. Do the math, everybody. I'm not doing it for you, but 2,300. Now think about that. That's approximately. And remember, numbers are always, this is what we know. So numbers are probably most likely higher. But a reminder, we have runaway children. We have familial disputes, custody battles. We have trafficked kids, sex and labor trafficked. We have kids in forced servitude. I'm talking right now just about the United States. So that is a disgusting number when you do the math, that many children missing. I'm going all over the place because this is unacceptable that we have this many kids missing, not to mention the million kids or thereabouts that came unaccompanied over the border that we're still asking about. I know Tom Homan, border czar, said that about, let me see, I saw him in Washington last week. He said there are about 13,000 of those children recovered, and they're going to work until they find every single child. But if we have about 1 million, which is my take on it, not 300,000, not the 500,000 that was admitted to, closer to 1 million and 13,000, it is, look, if we protect, find one child, but we have 1 million perhaps. So where are all those kids? I dare say they are here. We know about them. They are working all kinds of dangerous jobs, not in schools. But here's the thing. The Trump administration is stepping up and certainly doing much more than the last administration. But the last administration had no accounting of where kids were going, who was picking them up, who was vetting them, were they safe, when they gave phone numbers, websites for kids and their guardians, right, to check in. They lost count of, they admitted 65,000. They said they don't know. I mean, unacceptable. Any child missing, anybody missing, unacceptable. But anyway, let me get back to Dirty Diddy. So now all of a sudden, this guy must, I'm on Nancy Grace frequently with Rob Shooter. And Rob Shooter is here in New York. The Warriors were here in New York. Rob's been around a long time. And Rob is just a PR in the thick of it for years now. I've known about Rob. He was always on the scene in New York. So he actually worked for one Sean Combs for a couple of years as his publicist. And he really gives us good information, insight into what is happening with the mindset of this dirty Diddy. But he's demanding, through his lawyers, a new trial, that he's just a voyeur and that he didn't do anything wrong and that he just like to watch these freak offs and that the women are to blame. The women are the victims. The women were the ones friendly with these what they call sex workers. Now remember, at the Warriors, we don't use that. We say prostituted people because we say sex is not work, work is not sex. But he must sit around the cell, and according to Rob Shooter, he's always strategizing. He's always thinking. He's always coming up with something, and we're certainly seeing that. A lot of people are saying, well, Diddy, he's winning because he wasn't charged with the most serious, the sex trafficking, which could have put him away for life. But I'm reminding everybody, he's not winning anything. He's a convicted criminal. Okay. He's been sitting in jail for a long time now. The judge was smart enough not to grant any bail, although he pushed again in the last 48 hours, $50 million. I'll put up my mother's $2 million home. I'll wear the ankle bracelet, as we like to call them, otherwise known as an ankle monitor. Everybody, I like to say ankle bracelet. And he's in a program in prison called the STOP program, where men who are domestic abusers, domestic violence abusers, and traffickers go through redemption and learning. And oh, please, BS on that. But I keep thinking about Rob Shooter revealing, like, he's always thinking. He's always getting in there. And he seems to always be winning, in Rob's opinion. Rob pointed out, Rob was very shocked. He was not accused of, convicted of these sex trafficking crimes. And this brings me to something I spoke the other day about, but I just want to get back to this Diddy, his lawyers. I mean, look, I really don't know how they sleep at night, except they sleep because they're well paid. I'm sure his legal defense is tens of millions of dollars, or will be. He's got these lawyers that, here's the problem I have. I understand they're doing their job for their client, but when the lawyers themselves use that old playbook they rip out, that it's blaming the victims, we have to, in 2025, understand there is a new definition for sex trafficking victims, and labor trafficking victims, okay? That we have to, and I'm shouting from the highest rooftop. People are not listening. They do not want to listen. They don't want to understand about the victim, right? Because here we are. We're all talking about Dirty Diddy. We're all talking, about the lawyers, and he wants to get out, and a new filing, late last night. And but we're not talking about the victims. Their trauma, their lifelong trauma, their trauma bonding to somebody like a Dirty Diddy. And that means they are so emotionally wrought and attached. They will do anything for this person, even if this person abuses them horribly. Look at Cassie. We've all seen that video where she's being kicked and dragged. And there's one part of the video, her hand's up in front of her face. She doesn't want her face kicked in. Or she has her hand out like, stay back. And he's got rage, this guy. And this kind of rageful person, I mean, thank goodness for this Cassie video. This does not go away. We work with plenty of victims, survivors, the public. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist. I'm just a warrior working around a lot of survivors. But I don't understand. You have to understand the victim, as in Cassie. I don't care. She kept going back. I don't care. He paid her money. I don't care. She said in text messages, okay, I'll do that for you. I don't care. She says, I love you in text messages, as did some of the other women. It is called trauma bonding. And that is something that lasts entire lives, right? It's not something now Diddy is in this full redemption. And we're hearing that behind bars, he's planning his redemption tour and he's planning, a comeback in the music business. Well, I'm here to say, I don't know about all of you. I don't remember him doing so hot in the last few years with music or having new music come out. Like, where did all this money come from? We know he had that vodka deal, but frankly, as I looked into that, he was a spokesperson who got paid X amount of dollars a year to represent the brand. It's not like he owned it, right? And made money off the sales of it, whatever his deal was. I don't know about that, but he was a spokesperson for that. He had the Sean John clothing line. I remember that being the biggest thing. Don't ask me what year it was in Macy's, like an entire, practically floor. But that also went the way of the vodka. So what? How did he make all this money to have multiple homes and support all his family members and support women and where does that money come from? And I've always asked these questions. Where does that money come from? Who knows? This is me saying it. Drug trafficking? Well, we don't know. I'm just saying. Also, I've always asked when those homes were raided, the one in Miami um, and the one in California, they reportedly took videos. And I've always asked, I have nobody gives me answers though. What exactly, where did those videos go? We know from the court that they were videos of Cassie and other women in those freak offs, hotel nights, whatever that disgusting behavior was called. But, I keep going because of the work we do at the Warriors too. It is so easy, and I'm not suggesting this, I don't want to give anybody any ideas, to upload videos to these porn sites to make a buck. So my mind goes there, right? This is a guy, Sean Combs, who's not going to let any kind of opportunity when there's a dollar attached to get away from him. We've seen the drug talk. We've seen the victims being drugged, right? Everybody has the same story, people who don't even know each other. So I say, where there's a little smoke, there's fire. If everybody is reporting, most of the people, I took a sip or two and then I was woozy, or I woke up with my clothes off. Come on now, he's drugging people. So all of a sudden, he's deciding with his lawyers yesterday, and it was a very late night filing because the judge said, as of today, I have to see what happened, that he would decide on July 31st, which is today, about a bail. Okay, this $50 million. I actually thought, again, I'm not a lawyer either. I'm married to a woman. I'm not a lawyer. I thought once the judge denied the bail, I know he's going back and asking for more bail. I know Mark's on here. Lynn, I agree with you. However, P. Diddy and his lawyers just see Diddy using women in a business transaction, and they all believe the woman consented, and they do not see how the women are abused. Well, Mark, that goes right to my point of we need reform in not only public awareness of what sex trafficking is. Remember, domestic violence and sex trafficking intersect. Okay? They go hand in hand, right? So we need the public to understand what actually it is, because I'm convinced they don't. We need the justice system. We need reform. We need law enforcement to understand what it is. And the good news is there has been, I've seen it in the last 5 years, slowly creeping up on us. And I'll say in the last year, especially, because the last 4 years, I that was a bad nightmare for all of us, or most of us, and I don't want to even go there. But there was no action. Anything with trafficking and justice and holding those who buy sex accountable. Children, don't get me started. Nothing going on there with the Biden administration. So now we're back on track somewhat. There's a lot of work to do, a lot of catch up. But now we're open to AI. So many things are happening on a daily basis that, the predators are always 10 steps ahead of law enforcement, us. But reform, reform, reform. Reform for the foster care system. I was on a Zoom meeting today, and actually a webinar, and about the state, coming out of the state of California. And remember, at the Warriors, we want all the information we can get. We work across the country. We have Warriors all over. And it was specifically geared towards the Black community, because the facts are the facts. Anybody can be trafficked, any color, any religion, anybody, wealthy, poor, right? But the facts are that vulnerable, well, let me rephrase this. The facts are that girls and women of color are trafficked at a higher rate than perhaps white women and girls like me. Those are the facts. So how does that happen? So that's what this webinar was about. But it was shocking. It was, 92% of girls in the justice system, girls and young women. I don't even know why girls are in jails. Did you know in America on any given night, 2,000 kids are in adult jails? These are shocking things. Why are kids in adult jails? Okay, that's another program. But anyway, let's get back to California in the webinar. And it was reported that 92% of those in sex trafficking in the justice system are Black. Black. I should say of color. Well, no, they say Black today. Black. Okay, I'll just say of color, Black. Of those, 60% came through foster care. The foster care system needs reform, reform, reform. That is our 2025, what we are doing, our revolution and the warriors. We need definitions of sex and labor trafficking reform. We need to understand how these courts are working. Now, this is a big one to unravel. They have to understand these judges, but they are waking up. They are waking up. But these are just shocking things. So who's focused on, I wish we would talk about a lot of that, put a lot of these energies, and media would put energies into that instead of this dirty Diddy character that I think we can all agree, despite any charges, anything, he's horrible. He's disgusting. He's a pig. I don't want to discredit pig even. I don't know the word for some disgusting. Remember, I'm a New Yorker. So I've heard, don't have proof, for decades now, at least from the early 90s, about Diddy and different scams he was pulling off, things about the hip hop, rap music world, things about trafficking, drugs, weapons. I heard. Nobody talks about really the time he threw some sort of fundraiser basketball game at City College and all these kids buying tickets for cash, and you had to go down a staircase into this gymnasium, right? And crowds like you can't believe showed up. This was a while ago. And as the crowds were descending the stairs, the crowds behind them were pushing them. I believe it was 9 young people got crushed to death. And I was told that he was heard saying, grab the cash box. It was one of those things. They set up a card table and they take the cash. What a scam. They just kept selling and selling, and kids were showing up. 9 got killed. And he was heard saying, grab the cash box, and they left the premises. And I didn't see him go to jail for anything like that. I think somebody else took the fall for it, or it was dismissed as a disaster. It was something like that. And then we had that whole scammy thing where he and J-Lo, where he used to be they said he was an owner. Who knows? Words are cheap. You can't believe what you read. He had some kind of club. I think it was called Cheetah Club maybe, but don't hold me to that. On 41st. Yeah, off of 8th Avenue. A while ago too. And a woman got shot in the face. It was reported that J-Lo was carrying the gun for Diddy. I think in those days he was Puff. Something like, he has so many different names, this guy. But anyway, and they jumped in a car and they were riding up 8th Avenue throwing, guns out the window. But another guy took the fall for the thing. So this Sean Combs seems to get away. And verified by Rob Shooter, who worked for him in PR. Luckily got away from him, does not work for him now, has not been near him in a long time. But he said Diddy always gets his way. And remember, money talks and crime walks. It's very simple. So this guy, and I just want to see, he said that, first of all, he's convicted on 2 counts of violating the Mann Act, arguing that his role in the now infamous freak-offs, sex parties, we're all adults here, I think, doesn't actually meet the legal definition of the crime. He didn't have sex. He didn't transport anybody. He didn't profit. He just watched. Where'd the money come from to arrange their airfare, their car services, their fees? I want to know that. It's something that's really not used, the Mann Act. It is, I think, 100 years old. A federal law prohibits transporting individuals across state lines for prostitutions. But they're being loosey-goosey here, everybody. His legal team is saying he did not arrange the travel, exchange the money. He didn't participate. Simply, he's a voyeur. Recording. Now, this is the thing I don't understand. I want to know your thoughts. He was simply a voyeur recording private amateur pornography for personal use. Now that goes back, actually, that goes back to what I was saying before. He's saying he's protected under his First Amendment rights. What did he do with those videos then? Nobody seems to answer this. Who's on those videos? At any point were underage? Were kids on those videos? From these crazy parties? We don't know. And the defense is claiming that the male sex workers were not trafficked, but friends of the women. But understand that goes back to my definition of sex trafficking, the victims. They were forced into this fraud, force, coercion. Every time you hear, what's the definition of human trafficking? Force, fraud, coercion. Now, remember at the Warriors, we call it slavery. A word, somebody told me, well, more than somebody, a couple of people told me, you can't use that word. Why can't I use the word? It is enslavement of people. It is much more descriptive, in my opinion, than trafficking that people just don't seem to understand. So we have to get around what this actually is, but we have to put the focus on the victim. The victim, not this dirty Diddy sitting behind who knows what the jail cell. I mean, he even reportedly on his Twitter account, the X account the other day, put something like, I'm watching you, and then deleted it. Now, how is he able to use any of his social media? Or perhaps he has, people doing it for him on his accounts. We don't really know. But that's a little bit threatening. I'm watching you and then deleting it. Who is he talking about? Is he talking about Nancy Grace, who has incessantly, and to her credit, talked about this case for weeks, for months now, because I've been part of that. I've talked about it. Rob Shooter has talked about it. I mean, do we have to be frightened? Do we have to be scared? Because we know there are a lot of Diddy disciples running around town, only too happy to, should he get out, do his dirty deeds for him, because that's just the kind of creepy guy he is. So we'll see about that. We'll see. I want to find out what the judge, if he did indeed rule anything today. But on top of it, I don't know. Okay, I think this is Dirty Diddy's camp putting this out there. I seem to be the only one thinking this about Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, considering pardoning Diddy. I don't know about that one. Between what's going on with the Epstein case and Ghislaine Maxwell, and Donald Trump and Diddy, this is not a good look, people. Right, Warriors? I mean, what do you think? Let me check the comments. Okay. Yes, Diddy and his team keep trying to rewrite history and change the narrative in hopes of changing his sentencing, of getting released. Look, we saw him in court. He was wearing collegiate sweaters. I mean, look at this old playbook. This guy, remember all his images of him in fur coats and leather and, Gucci and Vuitton and all this. And then he's coming to court in a little schoolboy sweater, carrying a Bible. Oh, please, wearing glasses. Now, I understand how people are coached for court, but it's over. I feel like now even the public is aware of so much more. He did that for the jury, obviously. Obviously, to a certain extent, he won them over, because look at the charges for him. He probably will get 2 to 3 years time served. I don't know. We'll see. But I will tell you that once a monster offender creep like this, he will reoffend. It may not be right away. It may be 5 years from now. But somebody with that much rage, I keep thinking about the Cassie video and other reported things we did not see on any videos, using his force, his persuasion, his gaslighting, right? Everybody knows what that is, right? Saying things to somebody, trying to make them think they're crazy out of their mind, but you're really, playing psychological games with their minds, kind of things. Let me see what's going on here, if I missed anything. No, I see you're all talking to each other. But what we need to do as warriors is we need to really, I need your help to get this kind of information about exploitation, about victims, especially for our youth. I am so concerned about our future adults, our future leaders. Think about it. They're hearing about Diddy, right? Because everybody's on phones and laptops. I won't even say TV anymore because the kids get all of their news from TikTok and Instagram, things like that. And so they're hearing about Diddy and freak off parties and baby oil relentlessly. And they're hearing about Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. They're seeing, as we had here, this horrific, very disturbing shooting just the other day here on Park Avenue in New York City. It really makes, I keep thinking about, people went to work in the morning, people are trying to go home from work, and they just don't make it. Horrendous. So kids are hearing and seeing all of this. What must they think? How will that affect them being our future adults and leaders? What must their minds be thinking? And that is exactly one of the main reasons we have a youth mental health crisis, very well documented in this country. And we're not talking about that, but we're talking about Diddy. And I'm here talking about it because I'm very angered. I'm very angered that we can't take a lot of this energy and this focus and talk about, okay, what is a sex trafficking victim? What are they thinking? Uh, More emphasis on educating law enforcement. And a lot is being done. There are a lot of good people out there. But I hear the same thing: lack of resources, lack of man and woman power. I'm tired of that. Then I say, okay, we have artificial intelligence, which we know. A lot of great things with artificial intelligence. But the flip side, as we've learned from the internet, right? There's also the predators. They figure out, they're always ahead. But let us take AI. We work with tech people here at the Warriors. AI can be used for good. We can root out predators. We can find them so fast in seconds and minutes compared to using this, actual person who's got to go through videos and files and try to find servers. So there's so much good, and we have to take ourselves, because I know it's easy. There's a lot of low hanging fruit going on. I know they get millions of views, millions of hits, but we at the Warriors want to be more educational. We want more conversation going on. Our hashtag is community creates change. I want you to understand what's important for yourselves and also for kids. You might not have children, but you have family members that have children, you have neighbors that have children. It's an overall national security type of thing. So I want to just check on here about this Diddy. It's not a crime to be freaky. But and see, I understand they're doing their job, these lawyers, but again, it's such a slap in the face, not only to the victims, and there are, I would say, probably thousands with Diddy over the decades, but it's a slap in the face to all victims, survivors of any kind of domestic violence, sexual assault, trafficking, when they see this. And this is why they say, why should I tell anybody, Lynn? Why should I testify? They don't believe us. They make it about, we're to blame. And I don't blame them. That's why this Sean Combs case was so important for us at the Warriors, because if we could have one case that really showcased you are held accountable, you are held responsible, because we didn't get closure with Epstein. We'll never get closure with that. Everybody should move on. Ghislaine Maxwell was responsible for over 1,000 on-record women, girls at the time, a lot of them, young women, of abusing them, okay? She should be held accountable some way, shape, or form, right? She cannot get a pardon. I am so afraid with all this recent discussion around her. Maybe she even got one already. I don't know. We don't really ever know what's going on. And you might say, because somebody said, oh, you're wrong, Lynn, R. Kelly's been in jail. R. Kelly, we were talking about R. Kelly for about 20 years, what he was doing with children. And finally, for some reason, he crossed the wrong person, I guess. They put him away. But there's no overall in human trafficking, sex trafficking, and labor trafficking. I told you about all those missing kids, right? Even though they're unaccompanied minors, you might want to call them illegal alien, whatever you want to call them, they're still kids. They're still minors, right? Where is the accountability for any of this? Where is the push on the sex buyer, the end demand part of all of this? It's not there. So I'm so afraid. Well, I'm not afraid. It's here already that the public is habituated. This has become normalized, this type of behavior. And people who would not ordinarily try anything or do anything are going to do it because there's no accountability. So, hey, why not? And why not when the internet is the front door to the world, and you can basically do or find anything on there? So the takeaway, the take action is for all of you tonight. First, I'll check the comments in case I missed anything. I work with IT and with AI. This is the sort of work I do. I make AI for good to make humanity better. Durjati, I hope I'm saying your name the right way. Thank you, because there is so much good. And if here's another issue I'm very afraid of. Oh, I can't even talk. I have so many things to talk to you about. The administration, the Trump administration, they are unleashing sometime in August um, their overall plan, I believe, with children and AI. Both the vice president and the president put out, I want to say maybe about 2 months ago, a proclamation. We are putting AI, K through 12, across the nation. We want our kids to have AI. We want them to be the global leaders in AI. But here's what nobody talks about. Again, questions I keep asking, especially when I'm in Washington, not getting any answers. I usually get, well, we don't know. That's not a good enough answer. You should never say, I don't know, we don't know. You should say, let me find out about that. Or let me do some research on that. One should never say, I don't know, especially in a power position. But anyway, who's educating the teachers about all the AI? The teachers are overwhelmed, right? Already. Where is the program? You're going to put something online coming from the government and say, everybody sign on and learn about it? I don't think so. Teachers need to be trained. So where are the steps for that? The students need to be trained. And then the parents or guardians need to know what's going on. And they need to be trained. Who's doing all of this? Nobody. And that's why at the Warriors, that's why everyone who volunteers, who donates, who participates, we appreciate it, because this is what we do. We are boots on the ground behind the scenes and do a lot of this awareness, educational piece. And somebody said to me, again, because it's something common I get a lot, why do you even do it, Lynn, when everything's, out of control or so big? Or because let me remind you, at the Warriors, yes, it is overwhelming, it is dark and ugly, a lot of this. At the same time, there are a lot of good people out there doing a lot of good things who want to do something, who help. We appreciate everyone who helps us at the Warriors. And this is the way we run the Warriors, if we help one child a day, one family, one take action, one piece of legislation we're signed on to many pieces of legislation in the federal government and also in New York State. We have done our jobs. If one of you here learns something or shares the video, we have done our jobs. It's not always about donating money, right? It's about listening. It's about just volunteering even. And I really think, it's funny, I did an interview, I just put it up, with the Wonder Girls. And this is a group that it is a middle and high school and now college, because when they started in 2020, the girls were in high school, now they're in college. It is a true empowerment group. And I love them so much because they truly do volunteer work in the community. They empower each other. They do all kinds of great things. Now, everybody should know about the Wonder Girls. I mean, I said to my husband, it's so refreshing to speak to these young women who are smart and smiling, and they just want to serve their communities, and they want to help younger girls about all these issues that they're facing, and online bullying and online predation. I feel so elated from these Wonder Girls. So much so, we are actually, a reminder, partnering up. If you are in the New York area, we're having a beachside fundraiser on Wednesday, August 6th, just next week. And it's going to just be a beautiful evening of the Wonder Girls telling their stories and showing the good work being done and the positive, because we're always seeing negative with kids and people. This is truly a group. It works. They're right now based in New Jersey and New York, and they need to be all over the United States. You can open a chapter in your school, in your community. So we've got to spread the awareness. We've got to teach and share the goodness, not all this, Debbie Downer stuff. I hope nobody's named Debbie here. Let's see. What if Lynn does not do it, who will? Claudie, I don't know even why I do it. I do it because I had a calling, like a nun, and I can't help myself. I am passionate. I cannot stop. I live, breathe, do it. It's fine. Some people can't do what I do. It's fine. You can listen to the video and share it. You can volunteer in your community. You can talk to your kids open and honestly, including your teens, including 30 and under. I like to say, were born into captivity with the internet. Nobody's fault, not parents or guardians. This was thrown at everybody. And I'm scared. Not a word I like to use with the Warriors about this AI, because it's just slipping in every day more and more and more. Every Zoom I go on, AI companions are popping up. I go on the shopping sites. It's like the AI bot is here to talk to you. It's been here for a while, but now it's full force. And so to have the administration say in August, which basically is here, right? We're going to lay out the plan for the kids. What exactly, so we can be global leaders. I just want our children to be happy and healthy, know how to read a book, hold a pencil, know how to write, make eye contact, use their manners next Wednesday, because we'd love to see you. We're going to make just happiness for a couple of hours, food and drink and fun, and lighten it up a bit. But I want to show the world good work being done. Let's see. Yes, Karen Ann says they are definitely concerns me also, and especially knowing that they murdered the young tech guy that blew the whistle on. Well, we don't know. These stories come and go, right? And we don't really know what happened there, do we? And that's the other problem I have. The stories, they come and they go. For instance, other people put out missing children, and then there's never follow up, or little follow up, I should say. Although I will say, my friend Jen Coffindaffer, ex-FBI, is excellent. I recommend her. I interview her. She is a colleague. Every day she is at it on X, and that is Coffindaffer, like a coffin, COFFINDAFFER, FBI. To follow her, she constantly puts out missing people, missing kids, and follows up. That's why I love her so much, because follow up, we at the Warriors follow up. Where's the follow up? That's why I want to know where these 1 million kids are that came over the border, right? Where are they? Well, we know they're working agriculture, meatpacking, auto industry, in homes, but they're children, no matter how you slice it. And that our kids, again, are watching all this. And a reminder, those open borders led to the cartels working in all 50 states, getting our American kids for a couple of bucks to deal their drugs, and to also, traffic their peers, involve their peers in sex trafficking. And our kids don't understand what this is. They don't understand relationships. They don't understand boundaries. They're watching so much pornography where they have easy access that they're replicating that. They think that's how things are done. That's a relationship. Because a reminder, many girls as young as 11 are showing up in emergency rooms. We actually had one that was 9, with strangulation marks around their necks, because this is what's in the pornography now. The boys are seeing it. They think that's the way to treat a girl, and the girls accept it because they think, okay, that'll make the boy like me. How sad is this? So we have a lot of work to do, Warriors, but it's doable. It's doable if we all stay in our own lane, and if we each do a little something, a little something. I don't care what it is, just a little something. And with that, I want to thank you, Fred, for always being so supportive of the Warriors. It means the world. I mean, it means the world to me. Be kind to each other. We need kindness. It's even a hello. It's even, well, I live in an apartment building, but, holding the elevator door for somebody. Because even I've noticed, I'll always hold a door for somebody, whether it's a man or a woman. If they're behind me, but then I notice very rarely, A, they don't say thank you. B, they don't hold it for me. If somebody's going out in front of me, I'm saying. But I still continue to hold it because that's what I do. But I don't know if anybody's noticed that. That used to be, you hold the door for somebody. And men used to let women off an elevator first. I've almost been knocked over a few times on the elevator, attempting to step off first. But a man or rush past me. And it's just a lot of rudeness going on. So we have to be mindful of that. And I don't mean to be preachy, everybody, it's time for everybody to shape up. And with that, we're going to keep an eye on this Diddy character. I cannot stand the thought of President Trump pardoning him, because the victims and survivors of all these cases of sex trafficking, I don't want them to have to endure that trauma on top of the trauma they already have. And this Ghislaine Maxwell, she had a nice run for years, riding around trailer parks in Florida, picking up vulnerable girls, telling them they could answer phones for $200 a week cash. That's how that's what she was doing years ago. So we got to keep an eye on all that. But join me. Join me in being a warrior and help me honor our hashtag community creates change. And I want to thank all of you. I'm going to let you go now. I'm going to check up on this judge and Diddy. Yeah, it's a jungle out there, but you know what? We can pull it back in our own environments. And that's what we aim at the warriors to do. So with that, everybody, if it's nighttime, I'm going to say good night to you. If it's daytime, wherever you are, be safe, be well, take care of each other. Remember to always work on sharing facts, not fears. I know the fears get the clicks and the likes, and everybody's calling everybody certain names I don't like to say on our family program. I'd rather not get the clicks and likes. I'd rather give you the true information. But with that, like our videos, come on now. When I see that 80% watching the videos are not subscribed, I don't understand. It's free to hit the subscribe button. It's free to hit the like button. And it helps us get out in front of all the other videos. So do me a favor and do that for us. And you know what? Just remember, each and every day when you wake up, go out and be a warrior. Thank you. We'll talk again soon. Stay well, be safe.